Welcome back, everybody. This is Eric at Moss Pawn & Gun, and today we're going to be covering another awesome couple of milsurps for you today. We're going to be talking about Finland's warhorse, the M39 service rifle. Many of you look at them and you think, okay, well that's just a Mosin. Well, no, not quite. It's not your standard Mosin Nagant rifle. They were purpose-built infantry rifles by the government of Finland, and they entered service in 1939, hence the model name M39. And they have a very, very interesting history. Okay, you know, a lot of the things that Finland was going through during World War II were very complex. The problem that Finland had entering into World War II and entering into some of their early conflicts with the Russians and everything was that they didn't have enough small arms. They just didn't have enough small arms to, you know, fund their army or arm their army. And one of the things they had was in a lot of the early conflicts with the Russians, they had piles of M91 Dragoons, M91s, M9130 rifles, but they didn't really live up to the Finns' standards for what a good, proper small arm should be. So what they did is they contracted several firms, SIG, a few other barrel makers, a couple of barrel makers in Belgium, and they actually had a bunch of very nice barrels made. And what they did was they took existing Russian firearms that they captured from conflicts, and some of them were given as war aid and all of this sort of thing, and they rebarreled them and restocked them and basically built up a really nice service rifle based around the Russian M9130 or 91 rifle action. So the interesting thing about that is that at their heart, you know, they're usually built on older hex Mosin receivers, but with very nice, almost match grade barrels. Many of these rifles are capable of very, very amazing feats of accuracy, and for good reason. They're very well made. The stock design obviously is different than a standard 91. It's got a bit of a pistol grip kind of grafted into the stock. So that's one feature right off the bat that you can tell on a M39 is drastically different than a standard Russian 91. The stock construction is also much more robust than their Russian counterparts. Usually a two-piece stock, very good quality stocks that they use to construct these. There's also two sets of sling points on the M39, which a Russian rifle does not have. It allowed the rifle to be slung in an infantry style, like carrying over your shoulder, or in like a cavalry style, where the sling goes from the side and you're wearing it across your back on horseback or on skis or whatever. Finland was one of the first armies to really utilize ski troops to their fullest advantage. And there were a lot of cases where the Russians were taught winter warfare the hard way by the Finns. You know, the Finnish soldiers would ski around, take choice shots, pop a few shots, and then they would ski away. And by the time the Russians returned fire, they would, of course, have been gone already. One of the most decorated and honored snipers in history is actually from Finland, okay? And he was credited with shooting over, I believe, I want to say in the Winter War of '39, over a course of like 6 weeks, he was known to have killed close to about 450 Russian soldiers using only an iron-sighted M27 service rifle, okay? So that gentleman, you know, definitely, the Finns were also one of those nations to really honor the traditions of marksmanship and teach marksmanship. So, you know, they were one of those countries that really believed in the doctrine of one shot, one kill, and everything like that. A few other differences you're going to see on the M39 also is that generally the bolts are mismatched on them. That's because the way the Finnish armorers built them is that they would generally just take piles of parts, headspace them, match them, and then force number the bolts. So to find an M39 with an original matching bolt is actually kind of rare, but that's one thing to look for. Most all of the M39s are going to be built on hexagonal receivers. Obviously, a lot of the early guns that they captured and were sent for aid, those guns had hexagonal receivers because they were early guns. It's not uncommon to find an M39 rifle with an antique receiver. I believe the receiver on my 39 here in front of me here that I've got my finger on, the receiver on this one I believe was made in like 1899, and it's actually a Chatroulette French receiver. I know I always mispronounce that word. The sighting arrangement on the M39 is also different. The sights are much, much better. All right, they're adjustable in 50-meter increments, whereby the Russian counterparts are adjustable in 100-meter increments. So right off the bat, you have a lot better bit of adjustability. And actually, I believe it may be 20-meter increments, because between the 200 and 300-meter increment, you've got about 6 hash marks. So that may be even 20-meter increments. So basically, the sights on these things are much, much more adjustable than their Russian counterparts, which gives you a lot better bit of accuracy that you can achieve out of them. One nice thing about the Finnish M39 in terms of the sights also is that the front sight is adjustable for windage, which the Russian one is obviously not quite so much, not easily. These are meant to be adjusted in the field with ease. The front sight is protected by 2 ears, very, very sturdy ears, not unlike a K31 or any other, typical service rifle of the era. Basically, the guns were put together by a few different firms. One of them you know very well, and that's Sako. The rifle right here that I have my hand on is a Sako produced M39 made in 1943, so it probably saw service. This particular M39 has a VKT barrel that is a D-shank barrel, okay? These rifles were produced in State Arsenal as well. The D-shank barrels is actually a tighter barrel diameter than what you would see in a standard Russian rifle. The Finns wanted to use a tighter shank type bullet in their guns for enhanced accuracy. So the D-shank barrels are normally a lot better shooters than any other Mosin out there because they have a tighter bore. It's not uncommon to see a D-shank barrel slug at around 308 to 310. The Finns were geniuses of using the Russians' own technology against them, both in the way that they were able to salvage the original rifles and build up the beautiful M39 you see here, and in the way that they copied the Russians in a lot of ways. And one way they did that was they actually got to the point where they could copy Russian supply drop signals, and when the Russians would drop ammo and stuff, they would actually sometimes drop ammo to the Finns. All right, so the Finns were getting resupplied by the Russians, and they were using Russian rifle actions and Russian ammunition to kill Russians. So how's that for irony there? But that just goes to show the genius that, a citizenry and a government can obtain during a wartime duress situation. They were smart enough to realize, wow, they're dropping ammo, we're going to copy their supply drops, and they were able to utilize the Russian ammunition in their original rifles. So from a standpoint of combat, it makes a lot of sense to use the same firearm as your enemy, because then when you capture parts, you capture rifles, you capture ammunition, then you obviously have the means to sustain parts and support and ammunition for your own guns. So that's what makes the M39 such a charm. They really are very well-made guns. The stocks are beautiful. The actions are smooth. I mean, the triggers on these things are just gorgeous. Usually they're a 2-stage type arrangement. So you have an initial take-up and then a nice crisp, most of them have between a 3 to 5 pound break, and you're going to find them anywhere in between in terms of where the triggers break. But man, they are just beautiful guns. There's just something about the M39 I've always enjoyed. I picked up an M39 early on in my military surplus rifle collecting career, so to speak. And this particular 39 I actually picked up recently, which was what kind of prompted me to go, I need to make a video about the M39s because I haven't talked about them in a while. Plus, I just got the new one here, so want to take them out and do a little bit of shooting today. Hopefully you gain some knowledge about what these rifles are about. They really are very high quality firearms, and they are definitely worthy of any military surplus collection. If you are a Mosin collector, or if you like the Comblock pattern firearms, you're really doing yourself an injustice if you don't own an M39. Okay, I've got a lot of people that send me emails and they ask me, well, I only want one Mosin. What's the best Mosin, Eric? Well, I tell them, if you're only going to own one, you need to buy an M39. Because the M39 is on par with the Swedish M96s, it's on par with the Swiss K31s, it's on par with the Persian contract Mauser rifles. They are the top tier Cadillac of the Mosin family. Let's shoot the gun some, and I think you can definitely appreciate the gun even more once you see it in action. All right, I got some steel set up between 100 to 300 yards. Chad's gonna call some shots, and let's see if I can connect with the gongs. Real informal here. Let me know when you're ready, Chad. Call it.
All right, D28 on the hill.
D28 on the hill, 250?
250. Low right. Can you see the small D28, the half size?
Which one?
To the right, down there in the gully?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
All right.
How about the stick in?
The stick in, behind the round one?
Right above it.
Yep.
Just to the right.
Gotcha.
Just to the right.
Ah, man.
Can you see the gopher?
The gopher? Oh gosh, that thing's tiny. Yeah, let me see if I can hit him.
Go for the one there on the left.
Yeah. Well, actually, the one on the right's easier to see.
All right, go ahead. Ooh, just above his head.
Really? Well centered though?
Oh yeah.
All right, hang on. Let me bring my aim down just a little.
Ooh, just over his belly.
Yeah, that's a little bitty target. All right.
One more try.
One more try on the gopher?
Yeah. Oh, you got it.
Got him. Man, that's a tiny target. It's 200 yards away. All right.
How about the 16-inch round?
Which one?
The center round. Right in the middle.
All right.
Grab that D28 right here at 100. Child's play. 250. 3. 16-inch round. Half size D28 to the left. You hit the quarter size, but that was still good.
All right.
Go for the stick in again.
Stick in.
Yep. Got it that time.
Grab some more ammo. We're gonna take a couple of shots with the Finn M39 at 300 yards. Let's see how well she does. Oh yeah. Want to take a shot at the gopher?
Yeah.
Nailed him right in the head. Good shot. All right, how about the half size right next to it? Good shot. 250. 300.
Good shot. Do that again.
That's a little bit hotter.
Good shot. Low, well centered.
We've got our little shootsteel.com groundhog target. It's a little self-resetting flip-up target. I'll take a few shots at him with the M39, see if we can't hit him a few more times. Ooh,
Just over the top of his little head.
Ooh, well, 2 times is not too bad.
Good shot. Well guys, thanks for watching our Finnish M39 video today. These are definitely awesome guns. They're very hard to beat. We have much more of the military surplus firearms kind of coming in the pipeline here. Hopefully you enjoyed today's video. Be sure to subscribe, check us out, comment, rate, all that good stuff, and we'll catch you next time. Thanks guys.